Hey everybody, good morning. Tara Ija here with Choose Love, and I am here with the beautiful Kim Purcell, and she is an author in our new book, our new love book. By the way, this isn't your first book, is it, Kim?
It is not. This is my fifth collaborative book with Kira and Todd.
That's exciting. Yeah, Kira, As You Wish Publishing, she is our publisher for this book, and she's absolutely amazing. And I'm glad that you found us.
Oh,
So
I'm so glad I found you.
it was
Yeah.
meant to be.
Meant to be.
Well, let me read you a little bit about Kim out of her own bio. Kim Purcell is a wellness workshop facilitator and self-love coach. Love that. Married for 19 years, she and her husband have 3 thriving teenagers. Kim worked in publishing for 15 years, where she developed her passion for nutrition. Diagnosed with Crohn's colitis, Kim healed herself through food and nutrition. Her passion for healing the body is rivaled only by a passion for healing the whole soul self. For the past 7 years, Kim has been working with women and teen girls on their journeys toward mind, body, and spiritual wellness in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. She loves to help in any way she can. I believe that is so true because in your story, in your chapter, you actually put a little self-help techniques in that. And I think yours was one of the only stories that kind of did that. And I loved the idea that you gave somebody a tool to help them, by the way.
I'll tell you where that comes from. The first book that I jumped in on with Kira and Todd was so perfectly a book that I used to heal myself in my late 20s when I was, struggling with self-doubt and which way do I go in life and why aren't I married and, all these things. And I had this book that was by a psychologist, and he or she identified, life's struggles, different life struggles. And then, each couple of pages was how to on those life struggles. And so I remember there were some that I would go back and read and reread. And, that was my self-help tool. And I lent it to a roommate, and she traded me Deepak Chopra. And that one didn't resonate the same, but I never got that book back. So literally all these years, I've been sort of looking for that book again, trying to figure out what was it, could I ever find it? I've never found it. And then when they put out Life Coach, I never even paid attention to the title, but it said something about how to navigate life's challenges. And I thought, oh, here's my opportunity. So I jumped in and did some of the, and shared some of the self-discovery work that I had been doing personally. And it was so powerful that I've continued to do that in each of my 5 books, make it more than a story, make it a sort of a self-help how-to.
Well, I can clearly see that's what you did, and it's much appreciated because the story is one thing, but then helping people figure out how to get through their own stuff sometimes is really, really powerful. And clearly that's what you do in your life anyway.
I just hope it resonates. I hope it works.
Oh, for sure. So I was in your bio, it says you're a wellness workshop facilitator and self-love coach. Do you want to talk about that more?
Well, like I said, I went through the self-discovery journey first for myself. But like you and I were talking about earlier, anytime I have a powerful opportunity in my own life that, I've healed or, had a chance to shine a little bit, I want to share it with the world.
Yes.
And so that is what we started doing. We took what would have been a 12-week journey and extended it over a full year because we went so deep in through the first year. And then my partner and I, who had her her PhD in marriage and family counseling, she and I did it together 8 times and invited different people to come. and do this self-discovery work. And anyway, it was kind of amazing because some of the people stayed with us the whole way through and literally also did it 7 and 8 times each. And we just learned, it's like we're onions, and you can just keep peeling the layers and peeling the layers. And it just depends on how present in your story you want to be
Yes.
to clear anything that's kind of muddying your perspective on the world. So that's how it began. So it was just an organic process where we then did it 8 times. It was almost like group therapy for my partner, because that's what she was so comfortable with. But for me, it was really such a powerful spiritual awakening that I came to learn that it was probably too much to expect that everyone that came to the journey was going to experience their own spiritual awakening.
Oh, I love, that's powerful.
Yes, but on some level, that's what I was looking for people. I was looking for the opportunity to just wake up, and I saw it over and over and over again, and so I just had to come up with a title. So self-love coaches seems like it, but that's a fluid title for me because it changes.
Yeah, it's challenging. I mean, and it's a very necessary piece of the world today, especially in these days and times when it feels like there's so much out there that's just so negative, and we're just so hard on ourselves and the language we speak to ourselves, you
Yes.
know. In our very own book, we have several topics on self-love. So as you know, we put out the idea to 53 authors to talk about love. What does that look like? How does that show up for you? And as diverse and vast as it is, there's still several self-love topics within those 53 authors. So that's how needed, and
Absolutely.
you know what I mean, necessary that it is.
They say that you can only be loved as much as you love yourself, or you can only find love. You're going to find the love who loves you like you love yourself. So if you want to, level up, then you just have to do the work for yourself. So, I mean, I guess that's what it is. I had to learn to love myself before I could ever freely give it. I think we've all, maybe not, I know I remember my first boyfriend at around age 21. And he said, I love you so early. And I was like, dude, you don't even know me. Come on, like that is so not possible. And eventually I came to believe him. But I was baffled, like, it just, he might be a little crazy that he actually does love me, because I didn't love myself. But even that just felt like an anomaly. This guy can, but it doesn't mean I'm lovable. So anyway, I don't know. I spent a lifetime feeling not good enough or not worthy enough of the dream I saw so many living. And took a long time.
God, it's just so many of us in the world that have this, and we've had to overcome all of it. I mean, I think so many in their own ways have had to overcome all of this type of talk and this chatter. And I do know that I've had my own work, and I too feel like I want to spend my time helping others. You can do it. We can do this, together we can all do this. So we've talked about that, how we just want to lift everybody up with us. And when we figure it out, we want them to figure it out. But we do have to understand everybody's at their own level, and it's challenging sometimes. So,
You and I are both big on, stranger interactions and how much can I make an impact in just this one small moment we have together.
I mean, not feeling loved is, no matter who we are. I mean, we're us, and we had to go searching for love. So I think that love is something we all crave in the world, no matter who, what, where, when. And we just have to work to find that way to love through this life. And it is challenging. It's so challenging. So I was going to say, I was going to read about the fact that you healed yourself through food and nutrition. And I just love that. What do you think the biggest impact for you was, or how do you think, how did you help yourself through that period of time? Because that's not easy.
I challenged what was being told to me. I happened to be living in New Jersey at the time, and I was given a diagnosis at around age 30. And, I thought they gave me medicine that not only didn't make me better, but it made me worse. And I remember the doctor saying, I was a vegetarian at the time, and I remember the doctor saying, well, no more vegetables. And I was like, wait, what? Now what do I eat? So, he said, yeah, no more vegetables. You just can't, not raw, not cooked, nothing. And I said, well, when would we reintroduce those? And he said, well, at the 6-month visit, we can talk about reintroducing canned vegetables. And I thought, that's just ludicrous. This guy just, he's from New Jersey. I spent most of my life before that in California, where, I felt like nobody would tell you that. So I went to another doctor, and they all said the same thing, 6 months canned. And so I thought, there's got to be some more wisdom out there. And the internet was not even really the internet yet. So I hunkered down in bookstores, and I finally found David Wolf, who was a raw vegan. And
I've seen him.
Yeah, now he's, been around for what, I'm gonna say 20 something years. And right then he was kind of new. And what he said was, there is no Crohn's colitis in the raw vegan community. And I thought, well, there you have it. That just makes more sense to me. So, I dabbled in it, and I just kind of made it up as I went. And I used my own body as, my testing ground. I was my own guinea pig. And I guess in the process, I came to know me so well that I joke, if I have corn, I can feel it going down, and that's not really true. But, I came to know, how does this feed my body? How do I feel when I eat this? How do I feel when I eat that? Or how do I feel when I don't eat that? So it's all in the same vein of self-mastery. It's all in the same vein of, the work I did on my body is the work I then had to come and do on my mind and my soul. So it's a great start for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you feel great now. You look great now.
I mean, it's taken a long time. It took me 12 years before I started to become a little more successful with it and add supplementation. And I just had my first colonoscopy in 9 years, which a lot of people would say I was crazy. But again, I know my body, and I had zero inflammation. I had zero evidence of colitis, and it is not something that goes away. So I was pretty excited.
Oh yeah, that is very exciting. Good for you. Congratulations. That's awesome. And it says you love to work with women and teen girls on their journey. What is that passion? Where did that passion come from?
Well, it's the teen in me who, what is it they say? Love your child the way that you wish that you were loved. I wish I could give to teens, all the instructions to not make it so hard. And I've got 3 teenagers of my own, and one girl who reminds me a lot of myself, with super strong emotions. And, this social media, what it does to these kids today, it just breaks my heart. So it started when she was, about 11 or 12, and my partner and I started to try and do some of this self-discovery work with the teens, sort of as a preventive tool to, if you know yourself, you love yourself, and that you're empowered to
Yes.
do the teenage thing a little better. And she and I no longer work together, and so I've just kept it going on my own, and mostly it's with my daughter and her friend group, and I invite others, and so we make it a workshop. But that's where it came from. It came from my own teenage struggles. I don't think it needs to be as hard as it is, and these kids and the suicide rate and everything that they're going through. Where was it? I saw it the other day. Oh, it was the movie The Social Network.
Social dilemma.
Oh, Social Dilemma. Thank you. Yes. It said that you can see that suicide rate, that teen anxiety and depression rate skyrocket around 2010, 2011, which is basically when social media was born. So these kids don't know any better. They come into the world and they want to compare themselves to what they see on a social media screen, which you and I know, isn't the whole story. It may be a snippet, but it's not the whole story. You and I woke up on Monday and went to school and found out what we missed and thought, darn, oh well, they see it real time. Hey, how did I not get included on this? It's just so hard on them. So that's probably a really long answer, but that's
No, I'm really relating to what you're saying right now, because as I mentioned before, and why my eyes look like they do, which puffy. I had a very dear friend who lost her son to suicide, and he's in his early 20s, and this was just yesterday, day before, and you just wish you could fix it. You wish you could go back and just help everybody and say it's going to be okay, but everybody's just reacting so differently to the things, and you don't know what it is. But so I really appreciate your efforts into helping the young people. And I think we all need to be more invested in trying to be better mentors. And who knows? We just keep trying. We just keep loving.
Yeah.
And
Cuba recently, last year. And I brought a bunch of clothes, and I have a friend who runs a friend who does a lot of work with a community center in a very poor area. And so I was honored to be able to bring my, it was a very big suitcase, but my little small trinket to this little town of all my hand-me-downs from my kids. And they were so grateful to take it in and share it with the kids. And I knew that would be great. But what I learned about this community center was it's a free community center that they have. And, in the Latina community or Latino community, quinceañera is a big thing. And, parties are a big thing. Family is a big thing. Gathering is a big thing. And so this community center was a place for people to gather. And so they would often have parties there and, all their quinceañeras, weddings, all that there. And so that was so beautiful. I almost cracked my neck because it was so slippery, and they can't even get the materials to fix it. That's a whole nother story. But my point is that what the ladies who ran it did was the girls would come after school and learn how to sew. They would learn the trade, of being a woman, and you just pass it down. And I mean, that was passed down to me. My mother sewed everything, but we don't do that anymore. I sure don't. I mean, I'll sew some things, but I have not taught my daughter to sew until the coronavirus hit. And
you did? You were teaching her to sew?
I did. I taught them how to sew masks. I was definitely,
Hey,
101, but it was a start.
No, that's really great. It's a great trade. I wish if I knew how to sew, I would teach my boys. I would. I'm just not patient enough for that, but it's such a craft. It's such a needed thing in the world, necessary skill.
Have someone in the community who is doing that, teaching everyone, teaching the kids, giving it back. We just don't do that enough. So that's why I do what I do.
So what would you tell, I mean, now that you've done 5 books, Kim, what would you say to people who are, thinking themselves like maybe they have a story to tell? Should they tell them? Should they say it? It's a very vulnerable place to be, right? To tell a story, to share your story of self-love.
I say do it, do it, do it, do it, and do it again. I mean, the first one was so powerful. You hear a lot about, creativity sparking growth, spiritual growth. And for me, I'm one of those people, kind of learn by doing. It was like it cracked the cap off, and I was like, wow, wow, that was amazing. That was so freeing and so empowering and just so wonderful. So, I'm definitely hooked. I'm working on a solo book, solo with a partner, and it's a big life's work. So I'm really excited about that.
Is there any ETA on that, or is it just in the works? You don't want to put a date on it yet.
I'm sure As You Wish Publishing would like to know. Coronavirus, I had a deadline, and then the coronavirus hit, and full-time mom and homeschool mom and all that stuff. And so, no, we don't have a formal deadline, but now that they're back in school and this job is behind me, that I couldn't pass up a book about love. That's just
right.
So now I can get back to work and hopefully within a few months finish that up.
Well, that's exciting. I mean, I love it. And I love seeing so many authors that said, I mean, you've already written books, and so you're an addition, but there are so many authors that this is their first time, and their chapter got them very excited and motivated to maybe pursue other books and tell more stories. And I just think this is how we change the world, through stories.
Yeah, or articles in magazines, or submitting it to the newspaper, or
Yes.
that we might not have done because we think to ourselves, well, that's only for really authors. Well, guess what? We're all authors now. So
Authors of love.
we are.
Yes.
We are love experts, I guess. Oh,
Is that it? We are. What would you like to leave people with knowing about you today, Miss Kim?
I had this story in mind that I wanted to share, and I don't even know where it fits anymore, but so do I share it?
If you would like to share, you share. This is your time.
It's something of what I tell in the chapter. When I first started this self-discovery work, a friend of mine he's just a mover and a shaker, and he's a shaman, and he studies Toltec wisdom, among other ancient wisdoms. And he wrote this book, the self-discovery book. It was based on the Toltec traditions in the Teotihuacan pyramids. And he basically gave one chapter for each of the pyramids, and told the ceremonies that these Toltec Native Americans did, forever ago, when the pyramids were, in use. And so that is the self-discovery journey. It is the peeling away of the layers. And so I know this is a little amorphous, but he said to me, this is 2013, or maybe even 2012. He said, they turned somebody came and did a film, the work that he was doing, taking these groups to the pyramids and doing the work. Oh. Somebody said in LA, this needs to be on film. This is something that we need to share with the world. And so they did, and they made it a movie. And he told me, he said, I just produced this movie. I want to show it to some people, and I want to see if, the message translates through the film. And so he said, can you get some people together? I'm like, me? Of course. So, within a minute, I had, 50 people in a room, and we showed the movie. And I promised myself I wouldn't watch it before. So I watched it for the first time there. And I thought, I'll be your guinea pig. I'll let you know if it translates, if the energy comes through. And lo and behold, I had such an awakening, such a powerful response to that I literally think just watching that movie that one night healed something in me that went back for generations. And I'll tell you what it is. My mother grew up blaming her mother for a lot of, what went wrong in her life. And I kind of grew up blaming my mother for a lot of what went wrong in my life. And I remember when I was in a women's studies major at San Diego State, I took a class and there was a chapter on mother blame. And I thought, wow, this is really a thing. It's not just me. It's not just my mom.
Wow.
And so I knew, at least we're not alone. Makes you feel a little better, right?
Yes.
But in the movie, in one of the pyramids, there's this big open well in the place of the women. And what the ceremony was hanging over this rail and releasing all the blame and trauma and struggle and stuff that we as moms go through that never really gets recognized, but letting it go for generations. And I did. And I felt it. I felt free. And I mean, it was a life-changing ceremony and kind of just mental awakening. I thought to myself, wow, I can do that. I can just let that go. And so that was really huge for me. I'm probably going over my time. Are we okay?
Yeah, we're fine.
So next day, I'm excited. I'm going to meet up with my friend for lunch and we're going to review, how'd the night go, whatever. And it just so happened I had my first meeting with this, I don't even know what you call her. She's an acupuncturist, but she also does all kinds of things. And she did sound healing on me. I didn't even know sound healing was a thing. But she took the sound tines or the, tuning.
You talk the tuning fork thing. Yeah, I've seen those.
Right. She took the tuning forks and she buzzed them on my body. She touched them to my wrists and I felt it go, and I thought, well, of course I feel it. It's vibrating. Of course I feel it. She's touching me. And then she did it again on a different note and she came right in front of my heart, but it was off the body. It was about this far away from my body at the end of the fork. And I felt it go through me. I could feel the waves like sort of moving through me. She said, I can see that it's working. How you feeling? And I thought, it's like it hurts a little. I feel like, there's air bubbles and they're going through the back. And she said, we're going to keep on doing it until the air bubbles stop. And she did. And it cleared. And I thought, wow, that was amazing. Like I felt like a noodle. And so fast forward, next day, my daughter was horseback riding regularly. We went every week. And I was always kind of scared of the horses. They're big, they're a little intimidating. My kids were never scared. They were never raised to be scared. But I was like, you do that. That guy's going to knock me in the face with that thing, with that big nose. So I would always stand a little back. And they pretty much ignored me. And it was fine. We were simpatico that way. And this day, Noodle shows up. And I, deliver my daughter. And for the first time, I noticed like how sweet the horse was. And I looked at his eyes and I thought, wow, how beautiful. Like I didn't feel scared. It just didn't occur to me that I didn't feel scared. But the horse looked right back up at me like, hey, who are you? And I could see that we had a connection. For the first time, the horse recognized I was somewhat different. And so it took me some time to realize, what had happened. And that what happened was it broke through some of the walls that I had built around my heart. That is what happened. So I tell in my chapter, after my 8 series of these self-discovery classes, and I told you I was trying to pull out some sort of a spiritual awakening, what I did witness from people was a little cracking open. And, on whatever level, I tried to continue to bring that out from people. And I don't know. I may be losing myself in this story, but that is what I wanted to do with this chapter. That is what I want to do in life, is help people understand that they are what is holding them back. You are the one. You are the one in your own way, and it's physical. It's not just here. It's all of it. So I hope it translates a little bit in that book and in those.
Appreciated. And I will just tell you with the horses, I mean, I'm sure there's a whole equine therapy. There's therapies around using horses because of the horses know.
Yeah.
Horses know.
Very energetic, intuitive creatures.
They are.
Powerful, intuitive creatures. Yes.
So it's interesting that you added that point to it. But thank you, Kim. My goodness, I feel like, okay, let's get into some self-work. I don't even know what that is. Let's do it all.
Yes.
But thank you for sharing today, and thank you for showing up. Thank you for being in this book, using your voice, your gifts, your talents.
Thank you, Tara. Thank you for putting it together. Thank you for all that's come before and all that's about to happen. I really feel like some exciting stuff is about to happen, that some people are going to pick up that book and say, yeah, I can love me. I can start from here.
Can you imagine?
Yes, I can.
That would
make
my year. That would make my year.
You're a beautiful, beautiful soul.
And as you are. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you so much.
Me too.